So good. Do you
Oh,
feel
thanks.
like vulnerability and sharing those moments is sort of a key component to changing these soundtracks, like almost like cutting them off
Yes,
at the pass?
100%. Well, well, not even cutting them off at the pass. Like, the more I'm able to be vulnerable and share, the more other people can speak into that. Like,
Mm,
I'm not meant to do it alone. So, and that, that's a continual lesson for me. So I had a friend a couple of years ago that was like, yeah, I feel sad about this situation. I was like, hold up. We get to say I feel sad? Like, that's a thing we have access to? Like,
yeah.
that was news to me. And so then this same friend, like, this is 3 weeks ago, I said to him, we were on a walk, and I was like, there's this opportunity that I missed. And I just felt this sadness about, like, I'd never have another one like it, that I'd blown it, that was my shot, like
Hmm.
all these. And we were walking, and he asked me two questions. And he said, if you had taken that opportunity, what would you have more of that you don't now? And I was like, "Ooh, that's a good question." And then the second question he said was, "If you had taken that opportunity, would you have gone deeper into your ego or deeper into your heart?"
Mm,
And that one, I knew the answer to immediately. And
yeah.
I said, "My ego." And he said, "Well, that makes me sad because I don't think you would value our walks, and I'd miss out on these."
Mm,
And so I don't like. And that moment was a huge gift, like a huge soundtrack reshaping gift, where I wouldn't have had that unless I first go, this thing makes me feel sad, or this thing makes me feel happy.
yeah.
Like, I know influencers who have a harder time celebrating the wins than sharing the vulnerable stuff, because they're afraid that somebody's going to go, that's a humble brag. Like,
Mm,
must be nice to have a podcast, must be nice to have a book deal. Like, and they're going to get collectively shamed by the internet for being joyful, like,
yeah.
and to enjoying what they're doing. So I think anytime we hold that stuff in, it doesn't get to be shared in truth with other people.
Mm,
And like, hearing that story back from you was like a joy for me, because I was like, oh, that's right. Like, that moment was wild, and like, I want to remember. And like, I'm having those still. You're not done with them. Like,
yeah.
it's humbling to have 300,000 followers on Twitter, and you tweet a link to your YouTube video and you get 60 views. Like, I don't
Mm,
care who you are. That's humbling.
yeah.
Like, that's disappointing.
Mm,
But like, I need to grow the channel. And so, like, I'm going to continue to do those things. And so I think that becomes like almost like a lightning rod to point you in the right direction, so that if you're willing to do with delayed flights, if you're willing to have two people come, if you're willing to have, like, I remember we were selling something once, and I asked one of the people that works with me, I was like, how many did we sell? And he was like, Tom bought it. And I was like, no, numbers wise. He's like, yeah, a dude named Tom. And I was like, oh, you never want your sales funnel to have a first name. Like, we sold one Tom or whatever. And so, like, but if you're willing to do those things, it's probably a good sign that it's a good space for you to be in,
yeah.
because you're not giving up on the thing. You're not, I mean, I don't know if I don't think I put this story in the book. I remember I was at Catalyst West, and I'd shared the stage with John Maxwell. I did like 15 minutes. He did 45. And after, we had two book signing lines, and his had like 1,000 people in it with like
Yeah.
wheelbarrows full of stuff. And mine was dead empty. And somebody patted me on the back and was like, 10 years, buddy, 10 years.
Yeah.
And like, I just still laugh at that. Like, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a good reminder that, like, the vulnerability, you don't get to have people help you unless you tell people you need help.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, I told a group of my friends, hey, this book launch is harder because I don't have public speaking events. The
Yeah.
thing I've spent 10 years of my career getting the best at is public speaking. And then during the launch of what I think is my best book, I don't have access to those.
Yeah.
So I tell people, like, hey, like, help me out with this book launch. Help me, tell people about it. I need to be vulnerable enough to ask for help. So I think, yeah, the vulnerability has a huge reward to it,
Yeah.
and is valuable.